They gather here during the nights in the New England cold. The evening starts to set in. This is America. There's always a siren ringing somewhere. Ma'am. It would be really helpful. You could be a character in the film. I spoke to this lady in the umbrella. She didn't want to be on camera. She was selling cigarettes. I don't want to give her name. She didn't give it to me anyways. I gave her $2. It was all I had in cash on me. I was hoping to get a word from her. She didn't want to speak, almost as if it's all being hidden, all the secrets. And just like that, she was gone. There was a mess of beaten gloves under everybody's tires along the streets, everywhere you went. It was a city filled with artists and dreamers and lovers and hopers and creators, all looking for their own little place. The antennas of the city would reach the farthest places every 4 years when the primary would come around. All the politicians would come to town. The city had become a bunch of rundown villas and crack houses in certain areas, and these were still going for high prices. It seemed as though there was a terror around every corner. I began to chase the terrors through the streets. I went deeper into the heart of the city as the night progressed. I wanted to see what would happen as the crowds of people started to gather. Funeral parlor on the right. That's where my dad's wake was. The building ahead is where my mom worked once. The homeless shelter is the building on the left. The green and blue on the siding. And people gather here to try and escape the cold in Manchester, New Hampshire.
We're going through every single day.
Yes, sir.
Savages upon actually having addiction, non-addiction, mental health problems, and all these people that have no support, them actually not even getting the mental health help that they need. Yeah, self-medicating is not helping it. You're dumping them anywhere. That's not a way to do it. I get that we don't have all the vaccines in life or all the money to actually provide for everyone, but this is the bullshit that we have to deal with every day.
Yes, sir.
So, and then within the liberty of us actually being homeless, yeah, we do struggle in some ways. We all have our ways to actually getting somewhere in life, but some want this and some don't. Some didn't choose this. Some are stuck. And it's unfortunate. Some have families and everything else, and they have to look at themselves every single day. That
What are people doing right now during the nights when it's really cold?
other than staying warm, doing what they have to.
Thank you very much. Part of me doesn't even want to know what's going on. Part of me doesn't want to look any deeper. Some of the people I spoke with, they asked for money, for more information. But of course I know what that means. They don't have much more to tell. I already kind of know what's going on, but isn't there something deeper? Something at the heart of things? Something creeping into the hearts of mankind. Slogans everywhere. Signs, of course, always for you to read. I felt like the more questions that I asked to these poor people, the more it just drummed up emotions that might lead them to something that, well, like a wild animal, maybe you shouldn't interrupt it too much. Here's the problem, right here, the heart of it. Brady Sullivan. A regular old behemoth taking over the town like Lionel Barrymore in It's a Wonderful Life. They own it all, like Pottersville. They want it all. The whole city. And they're in coordination with the banks to destroy the lives of every citizen. With the banks in coordination with the state. The supposed liberals who hate communism. There was clearly some kind of conspiracy afoot between the government, lawmakers, and the rent owners in Manchester. I was going to get to the bottom of this. The signs in the city were everywhere. And here's the newest one in town. Red Oak. What used to be just a bunch of garbage apartments they used to sell, or I should say, lease out to people with bed bugs infested everywhere. Now they get all the big contracts in town. Down the ladder we'll go into the streets of Manchester, and we'll see what we can find in the dirt and the grime. Around every corner, at every art show, you'll find the banks. Here's their newest one, of the palaces of Brady Sullivan. They buy the cheap streets, the cheap seats, and crank up all the prices for everyone, so they all end up on the streets. What once was a pretty city has now been tossed to the likes of them. We used to party on these streets every Thursday night. I suppose they'll throw a little sponsor in there. The building we built with our tax money, which now houses private events. The hotel that was built by Red Oak. They tore down all the buildings and built their own things with their slum. But here are the cheap buildings that Red Oak began with. You can still see their name along the side. The slumlord. They own these slums all along our streets. Everywhere you go, they own them all. What once was beautiful and tall. Now waits, feeling very small. Live, work, and play. Luxury apartments. Somewhere along the project, I began to believe the answers were elusive, perhaps unattainable. Was I waking the sleeping dead, only to watch them fall victim to the fates of their nightly graves? Was I a simple fool, flinging pebbles at Goliaths, surfing tsunami waves? Were my shouts meaningless in the absurd chaos of the abyss? Or, through this obscure lens, could I share some meaning to this? I wondered if my acts were in some vain grandeur, as I ejected and left the commuters to decide where they landed.